Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
Yeah, we good. Cheers. Finally.
Oh my God, it got me sweating.
Right. Let me adjust my mic, y'all.
Oh Lord, Jesus is a fire.
All right. We got this together now. All
yes,
right.
we are.
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Sippin' on Excellence, where
I am Coach KJ.
And I am the Duck.
Yes. We should start introducing ourselves, making sure people know it's not just Sipping on Excellence, it's Coach KJ and the Doc.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
We had a great live this morning.
We did.
And it's going to roll over into what we're going to talk about today. We gave people some choices, and I think they agree with us on kind of what this topic should be today. But thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. The platform is growing, and we appreciate y'all's support.
I know, right? People actually like us.
Dude, people are actually feeling what we're saying. I guess we got to start.
I guess we got something to say.
Right?
Son.
I think that's why we started this in the first place, because we got a lot of shit to talk about.
Son. Son to say.
Man, what we haven't been doing recently, man, is checking in. How you doing, man?
You know, just loving this back exercise. This back stuff. This back life
is all jacked up.
This back life is wonderful.
It is all
There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, you don't believe that. You're over here grunting like an old man.
I am. Give me 2 more months. I'll be right up there with you.
I know, right? Whew.
Man.
That 5 coming. It's just getting better, man.
Man.
I promise you it's just getting better.
Man, I'm starting to do like old folks, like silver sneakers. You know, reach up.
Hey, chair exercises.
Where's my little inflatable beach ball? Right.
Doing the twist, sitting in the chair.
What you know about silver sneakers?
You forget my population that I take care of are all silver sneakers.
Yeah.
They don't hurt their back when they're 20. They hurt their back when they get this silver. Yes.
Yeah. They've actually been hurting their back all their lives because they've been breaking their backs working.
Dude.
Work ethic. We talked about that earlier today, too.
You know, and this is going to dive us into the what's wrong with y'all.
Yeah, but first, before we get there,
I mean, it's gonna dive us into that part.
I'm checking in on you, brother. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
I'm doing all right. I can't complain, man. February is one of those months that in all of healthcare just kind of slows down a little bit.
Oh, I bet.
And everybody kind of panics, like, why am I not as busy? But then it kicks right back up, you know. And so we just don't. Yesterday had one surgery, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, no.
I was just able to just
you called me early yesterday. I was like, what do you want?
Right.
Like, I'm busy. What you want?
I'm like, I'm not. That's why I'm calling.
I was shocked. Jesus.
Yeah, man. But it kind of slows down, and it's one of those things where I just take it when I can. I just hope I can take those moments and I can breathe.
But do you find that, like you said, some people, they have this tendency to like freak out and go in freak out mode. Do you think they're just living literally day by day?
No, I think
lack of preparation,
I think people, especially physicians, for some reason, man, and this is why I'd said this earlier, if you're living your life chasing the dollar, when the dollar's not coming, you panic. And so with physicians, they see a little slowdown in their practice for a couple of days. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, what's happening? Well, you're chasing money. That's your problem.
Right.
Me, I don't panic. I look at it as like, I get a breather because I know tomorrow I got 30 patients to see in the office. And so I chase the high of life improvement, and the money comes.
Yeah.
You know, and so it doesn't bother me. It used to when I didn't know kind of where my practice was, or it used to bother me when people canceled or there was a no-show or whatever. Now I'm like, that's one less person I get to see today. Thank you. I can breathe for a second.
Yeah.
But I think that just comes with experience, and once you develop a reputation, you're kind of like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
But you know, being in the fitness game and now doing more life coaching, what I've noticed is that there's certain times of the year, especially from a fitness standpoint, I just, I'm prepared for it. Those first initial years of the freak out mode,
right?
But, I know that from the middle end of August up to early October, mid October, it's just going to be slow for me.
There's a dip,
yeah.
And
Schools
once you notice the pattern, every year you're like, okay, I can now prepare for the dip.
Yeah, school clothes.
People aren't trying to get that summer bod ready.
Family trip.
Yes, people are out of town.
Yeah.
And then they're gearing up for the holidays. So things will pick back up. And for me, it's always mad rush at the end of the year.
Yeah,
and then it slows down the beginning of the year, and then it peaks back up again.
Because of insurance.
Oh, for sure, man. Another question for you, man. And I'm gonna throw this out there to the crowd. I'll probably get all kinds of hate DMs for this. Valentine's Day is next week. Is that a real holiday?
It's not a holiday.
Don't say that too loud.
It is not a holiday.
Thank you.
It is not a holiday.
Thank you.
It is not on. It's another, like when people are now celebrating all these days, it's a love day. Okay. And it's okay.
So here's my question.
It's a commercial capital love day.
What I was waiting on. Hallmark made it great. And
everything
in the flower industry.
Why is my steak now 15%, 20% higher today?
Well, here's what gets me. Why is it that in relationships, if you don't show me you give a damn 364 days, why do I care on this one day that means nothing to nobody?
What's funny is always the day I never bought flowers. I would buy them every other time.
Never celebrated it when I was growing up. My mom, there's various reasons why we never did, but it's, to me, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, think about it. They start with you early.
Oh, yeah. I remember, as soon as New Year's is done.
Oh, no. With preschool, I remember we used to get the little bags with those nasty hearts. That
the little messages on
messages
them?
on them. Yeah, you used to get those in preschool. And so
then
your mindset is already wrapped around.
Your family, your mom or whatever, you'd buy you that multi-pack of cards that you could give to you. Dude.
Yeah, you go shopping and all you see are flowers. All roses.
Roses, chocolates.
What made roses the most identifiable flower for Valentine's Day? I don't understand.
I should ask my niece. That's her world. She does floral stuff. I'm gonna ask her that because that just.
What's the history behind that?
Yeah, right.
I'm sure there's a
I'm sure there's something there.
There's a Wikipedia on it. There's a Wikipedia on everything.
But it's so funny because you always get those scenarios too where women will tell their dude, "Oh, it's Valentine's Day. You gonna get some."
That's the only time?
That's the only time I'm getting some. Aren't we married? So you're basically saying my Valentine's Day gift is a treat that I get year round.
Right. That you should get year round.
You know what I mean? It's like, why is that a treat for me today? As opposed to, so I never understood. I was never able to wrap my head around Valentine's Day. And when women I dated, I used to tell them I don't believe in Valentine's Day. They used to look me all cross-eyed. I'm like, I'm letting you know now. I don't believe in it.
So, I was just thinking, I guess we're going to have to release this one this week.
Well, no, we can release it whenever, but, we might have to.
Yeah, no.
But it's one of those things where I never really did much for Valentine's Day for people because it's not in the forefront of my brain. I don't think about it. I'm like, well, what if somebody asked me, what if it means something to her? Well, then she'd have to tell me why.
Fair enough.
Tell me why this day is so special to you. More so than, say, your birthday or Mother's Day or any other day. Mm-hmm. Why is Valentine's Day? Because is it more so because you want to be able to tell your girlfriends, look what my man did for me? Because you don't need to do anything for me for Valentine's Day. I don't need a card. I don't need it. You don't even have to say Happy Valentine's Day to me because I probably won't say it to you because I just don't even think about it. It's the truth. And that's just my thoughts. Other people, and if anybody feels some kind of way about that, I would love to ask them why.
Yeah.
And nobody's been able to explain to me why it's such an important day to them.
I think, and not just Valentine's Day, I think what we've been doing and what, I don't know about you, but what I've been finding myself doing more of is way more critical thinking and asking a ton more questions. Since we started this podcast, I ask a lot of questions.
Right.
To people. Well, why do you feel that? And you have to change your demeanor because you don't want to sound like an attack. But you have to like, so what? Well, help me understand that.
Explain
why do
that
you feel
to me. Right.
I just want to get a vibe for that. I don't understand.
Exactly.
Help me understand. I do it all the time now because of this show.
Right. And it makes me, and it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because before, I was like, I don't care what they think.
Yeah.
That's just whack. But now I'm like, no, I want to get into your head.
Because it sounds like Alice on Popeye.
Dude, Snoopy's mom. You know what I mean? And it's at some point, I'm like, I'm actually curious. Why do you think X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it just, it's funny.
Yeah.
Before we get into the what's wrong with y'all segment, let's talk about what we're sipping on. So then we can ease into the bullshit we're about to talk to y'all about.
What we are sipping on today is,
Coach.
Hey, listen, the struggle was real today. We usually come up with about a week ahead of time, but today was just like, pick the liquor. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, what we got?
So we chose a Cuban Side Car. Cuban Side Car is 1 ounce Cointreau, 1 ounce light rum, and 1 ounce of lime juice. Shaken up well. And we don't
have martini glasses in my house,
so we can't chill the martini glasses.
But we're serving it on the rocks today.
Serve it on the rocks on a hot low ball. You
yes.
know what I'm saying?
That's how we doing it.
Get it in,
my man. Let's get after it today. Cheers. Cheers to you guys.
I haven't said that in a while. Mm-hmm. It is tasty though.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Whew. It is a good one.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something, man. Did you catch any of the State of the Union address this week? And I didn't either. I caught the highlights.
All I caught was they keep talking about Joe Biden's wife kissing his wife?
Kissing Kamala Harris's husband.
Yeah.
Who cares? They went in to kiss. Who cares? You kissed her on the lip, whatever. Keep it moving.
You know.
And honestly, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
When they went in, it looked like it was an awkward, almost cheek kiss.
Like a.
I went to kiss on the cheek, and it was just.
But you know what? When I used to train a lot of people.
Not like he grabbed her by the back of the head and said, No.
A lot of older people
will kiss on the lips.
Yeah.
That's just what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've experienced it. It's like, oh, okay, that threw me off.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that's just the way we do it, honey. I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right. You know, if it's a long-term client. They don't just do it to everybody, but they know you.
But people make a big deal out of shit that's got nothing to do with politics.
Yeah. But that's all part of it. They have to escape, because they're always looking for something to bid their negativity in their head.
And have you ever paid attention to, this is just how dumb our political divide is. This is how stupid things are.
Children. Depends
on who is president. So if there's a Democrat like now in the office, every time he says something cool, half the room stands up and gives him a standing ovation. The other half just sits there and doesn't even clap. The Democrats will stand, the Republicans will stay seated. Even if he says something that's pertinent to both people, only one side is going to show that they're happy for it, right? What I think is so disrespectful.
Which part?
Is when somebody's speaking and the audience, people yell out and heckle. You're a congressperson. Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's like
just point out who
Marjorie Taylor Greene wearing this fur coat in the middle of the chamber. And I can't understand why, if you disagree with what somebody's saying, they're giving a speech. Let them speak, and then you can do a rebuttal later. You can do whatever you want. You can go on. You can go all over CNN, whatever. She's standing up shouting, "You're a liar!" Just uncouth, entitled white woman.
Very much so.
That's just, to me, that's just so if I don't like you and I disagree with anything you're saying,
I'm just not going to say anything.
I'm going to let you say your piece.
Right.
Even if I feel you're lying, then let you lie and come back later. You think standing up in a auditorium and shouting "liar" is going to make anybody, maybe he is lying. No, they're going to just look at you and be like, you're an idiot.
You know what was also amazing too? Nobody really pointed it out, but McCarthy, his just his demeanor, his looks, his glares.
Yeah.
It's like
Look of disgust, whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, dude, you barely got voted in by your own people. You lost what? 20 votes before 20 rounds of voting before you finally got it.
Yeah.
You had to beg and plead people to put you in that position. It's like, come on, man. This whole political system that we live in is just, it's so dumb, and it's why things don't get accomplished. You have people in private saying, I want to do away with Medicare. Then you have people in private say, I want to make Medicare cuts. And then when it gets brought up, people are like, oh, I didn't say that. Damn it, here's the memo. with your name on the memo.
But we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world.
No, we just have the perception of being the greatest country in the world. And we have our faults, and we got a whole lot of them, and it starts with our system of government. Yes, we have a democracy, but it's so divided that nothing gets accomplished. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem.
Yeah, and they're sold on their concept of whatever the trending belief is at that time. Trending, notice I said trending. It's not the standards that party, how they believe and what they believe in. It's the trending topics that feed them. And usually, especially I notice from the right, it's the trending topic that's going to be anti-left. Whatever you're saying on the left, I'm going to go all the way to the other side. Let's face it, really 80% of this country is on that gray.
It's in the middle.
They're gray.
The far left and the far right. Think about this. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night. Let's just look at the transgender community. Mm-hmm. They make up what? 1%, less than 1% of the population.
In this nation, what are they in this nation versus in the world? Do you know?
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah,
but but what we find is that with such a small population of people, everyone is so afraid of offending that small population of people, but yet other minority groups get offended all the time. Make that make sense to me.
Yeah, what minority groups are you talking about?
Shit, all of us, black and brown people.
Yeah.
And
I know.
It's one of those things where, for example, I saw a post on social media the other day that there's an airport that's now going to start putting urinals in female bathrooms to accommodate transgender women. Tell me why that's necessary. Tell me why that is necessary, because a transgender woman can't go to a toilet just like a regular woman. I don't understand it,
But you still don't have any answers.
And think about it.
I don't know.
You're doing major reconstruction because there's a segment.
Need a sip on that.
Because there's a segment of people who think their rights are being violated because they don't have a urinal in there.
Yeah.
I don't get it. When you go to unisex bathrooms anywhere in the world, there's just a toilet.
Yeah.
There is no urinal.
Yeah. I know, and we've brought this topic up, but there's always something new that accommodates what happened previous.
So
I don't understand, because I feel like there's this need to project whatever energy that they're in at that moment, but they don't explain to me or explain to us or explain to the general public, like, this is what we're feeling, this is where we are.
Right.
I'm just going to tell you, this is where we are. You should know.
Right.
But you just figured it out last night.
But here's the funny thing. I was talking to a friend of mine last night. She was saying her kids told her, and I heard this from my nephews, I've heard it from a lot of kids who are in middle school and high school, that if you are what they call cisgender, if you are heterosexual, if you don't fall into one of the LGBTQA plus kind of things, now in these schools with these kids, you're considered square if you're straight cisgender, which is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a fad to be something different.
It's what's
It's trendy
trending.
to be something different. Now, I'm not taking anything away from people who are living in a body that they don't feel comfortable in. There's plenty of people who, damn, I should have been born a man, and I feel like I'm a man inside. I should have been born a woman. I feel like a woman inside.
I have a friend recently I just found out.
I keep going back to Caitlyn Jenner. You know, she lived her entire life being Bruce, and how hard that must have been.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel for that. But as things move forward, there's so many, I mean, to have so many different non-conforming, non-gender roles, it's like, at what point are we just going to say, I just don't identify as human and I have to accept that too? So here's an example. We were talking about a patient seen in the emergency room.
Right.
A man comes in, full beard, everything, for all intents and purposes, you're a man, comes in with a girlfriend who's a beautiful woman.
Beautiful woman. Mm-hmm.
Comes in with abdominal pain. And this abdominal pain was like, oh, this might be a kidney stone or whatever it may be. Okay, so CT scan, CAT scan of the abdomen is done. And lo and behold, this person has a giant ovarian cyst. A man with an ovarian cyst, right? And so the doctor sits down with the patient, like, hey, let's start from scratch. Tell me about your transition, and just kind of talked him through it. And then was like, okay, you still have all the female parts. We need to do a pelvic exam. We need to, because your ovary could be twisted, you know, whatever it may be, right?
Just to help them identify what's going on.
Not only that, like, look, this could save your life, because that thing necroses and dies, and then you get septic. You know, there's a lot of problems that could happen. Mm-hmm. Dude was like, absolutely not. I'm a man. I've transitioned, so I'm not going to let you do a pelvic exam because basically I don't have those parts. Well, yes, you do. And no matter...
You don't escape where you were born.
Right. No matter what happens, you still have to, as long as you have a uterus and ovaries, you still have to get pap smears. You still have to look for cancers. You still have to, you know, take care of those issues. They don't go away because you've now changed the identity of what gender you want to be. Your chromosomes are still the same.
Right.
And I feel you. I will still treat you as a man. I will still treat you ever, but I still need to know, are there parts of you that I need to worry about? You have a giant cyst.
It's just understanding that we're going to treat you to make sure that your health continues to blossom.
I'm going to treat your biology while I am sensitive to your psychology.
Right.
It's that simple. Mm-hmm. But if you won't let me treat your biology, then that's where this becomes a problem.
Right.
And somebody asked me...
that will ultimately affect their psychology.
Right. And somebody said the other day, they're like, well, do you think that's transphobic? I was like, that's not transphobic, because phobia means I'm afraid.
Yes.
I'm not afraid of anyone.
No fear.
I have no fear. Just like, for example, are you going to call me homophobic because I'm heterosexual? If I say, you know what, I like women, does that make me homophobic? Right. Saying I'm afraid of homosexual? No, I have a preference. When it comes to transgender, do your thing. I am all for you being the person that you were meant to be. But from a doctor standpoint, I need to know what you were born so I know how to take care of you. It's that simple. The rest doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? And so...
Because that's your journey.
Right.
That is absolutely your journey.
I will be there for you on your journey.
Right.
But just know that I still need to know. And so don't do yourself a disservice by not disclosing everything to your healthcare professionals, because we just want the best for you. That's all I was saying about that. So that was that part of my what's wrong with y'all. I was just like...
Yeah, that has to be exhausting.
Yeah.
That has to be exhausting.
Really?
Because there's this continuous edge that they're carrying versus understanding that you're not born this way. That goes back into the idea of like the the projecting, the projecting the energy and forcing us to have a belief that we didn't come up with. You have that belief.
Right.
I don't understand your belief, so help me understand.
Correct.
Explain it to me, bring it to me, present it to me.
Yes.
So I can go, oh, I get that. Well, I don't understand when you're just spewing and shooting it at me and darting me and saying that I'm, transphobic or homophobic or whatever it is. I don't understand.
You know why? Because they're not listening to you.
No. They're only listening to what's going on between their ears.
They're not listening to you. They're only projecting without taking a step back and say, okay, you always want people to understand how you feel. How about you take a step back? Let me tell you how I'm understanding you and how I'm processing you, and then you can correct me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what brings us to our topic today, man.
I was like, oh, you about to chime it in. Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding. Yeah.
This is what brings us to our topic today. And we need to make that button.
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah.
But the topic of today, we just want to talk about, how come people don't listen? And I'm gonna tell you, I've seen, and what sparked there's many conversations I have had that have sparked this particular conversation that we're gonna have today. But I notice it. Let's start with my profession. We'll get to the personal life, but let's talk about my profession. In my profession, the one thing that I see, and where social media, where the internet, Dr. Google has come in, patients will come see me. Patients will come see me, and they will tell me, this is what they have, this is their problem, and this is how I should treat their problem. And as I'm trying to talk, they won't be quiet. They'll say, but what about this, or what about that, and this and that and the other. I had a patient the other day who came in, and for various reasons.
What do you mean, Doc?
Right.
What do you mean, Doc?
We get into it.
But that's not what I read.
That's
what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And that's see how you got interrupted, and that energy, it shifts immediately.
And then you become, it makes you a little uptight and be like, okay, now it becomes a debate when it shouldn't be. I'm having a conversation with somebody that I didn't appreciate some attitude, blah, blah, whatever. Patient didn't get seen, writes me this letter. I call the patient, and then the patient says, call the patient. I was like, all right, here we go. You and I are going to have this conversation about what you sent me. You're going to talk about, I want you to go through, finish your statement. Go through, talk to me. So she's talking, and then the patient said something. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop you right there. And she's like, I thought you were going to let me talk. I was like, you know what? My bad. And I let the patient continue. When I started to talk, every other word, I'm getting cut off and rebutted, and the person's being defensive. And I'm just like, I let you talk. You won't let me talk. And so since you won't let me talk, you're not listening to me. So everything you're saying, if you just shut your mouth, I will probably answer all of your questions. Let me finish what I'm saying. But for some reason, and I've been, had this issue too, where you get excited and you want to jump in the middle of a conversation and have to check yourself. But if I'm providing some information for you and I'm telling you my perception of something, don't try to invalidate what I'm feeling or seeing before you hear the story. Before I tell you before I even finish, you're not even letting me say, if I'm telling you, Kenneth, man, this glass is cold and the ice, there's like 5 ice cubes, and you cut me off and be like, no, there's hot water in there. I'm like, you didn't let me finish. I'm telling you it's cold for a reason because, whatever. And people will do that. And you're already cutting me off without hearing the end.
Bro, that's
of my statement.
That's my number one pet peeve. Do not cut me off.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to let you talk. Now, in a discussion and you're both telling stories, you're like, right. Somebody says something, oh yeah, dude, but do you remember this? I get that. But if I'm providing information for you and you're not listening to me, and then you keep asking me the same question, I'm like, if you just shut your damn mouth, I will be able to tell you exactly what you're looking for.
Providing information based on you coming to me for my expertise with the information that you were looking for. Let's make that clear.
Yeah. Like when I ask you, okay, tell me why you're here. And you give me this monologue that's 15 minutes. Cool. Done. As soon as I start talking, oh, but doctor, but then this. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, I can't get to treating you because you won't shut up. You know? And I think this carries over into, and I'm sure you see this, you know, people coming in telling you what they want.
Yeah.
And what they think you should do for them.
As a trainer, what I learned, especially as years have passed by, when I initially started, you know, you still take people on, but, you know, 6 years in, 5 years in, 6 years in, you know, it just got to the point where people just start talking and say, well, why are you here to see me?
Yeah, right.
I'm very quick to say that. Well, why are you here to see me? It's obviously you know what you want. If you think, you know, or they get started and they go into, well, you know, I think I need more reps and sets and more cardio. I said, well, you know, it seems like you need a different trainer. I'm very quick.
But no. I want you to do this. See, I'm cutting you off. No, but I want you to do this program that this other trainer set up for me, and I want you to take me through it.
You know that happened recently,
right? That's why I'm bringing it up. It's like,
yeah. So you know, I'm very, 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 very quick because I know me, I respect me, and I love me, and I know what I'm capable of. So I have a tendency to just go ahead and say, you know what, maybe this is not for you. I'm very good for the takeaway. You know, before I did training, I sold everything. So right. I learned every sales quality technique, whatever it is. And one of the biggest things about sales techniques is the takeaway. Sometimes you're like, you know what, this may not be for you.
I'm very quick to just go silent. If I'm talking and you cut me off and I just sit there and look at them and they're talking and they'll stop, they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead. You had a lot to say, so why don't you just go ahead and finish?
Or you know my favorite, and we brought this up on the podcast before. No. You keep talking. What you have to say is way more important than what I have to say.
And then they think you're being defensive and all that. No, I'm just letting you talk. You clearly want to talk. So talk.
It works for you.
And I've seen this carry over into relationships, friendships. And I'll tell you, example, having a conversation with a woman and she's disagreeing with my approach of something I was saying. You know, a friend of mine hates that I generalize about stuff. And I was making a statement. I was like, well, we all generalize, but I'm never talking about you specifically. You know, so if I sit here with Kenneth and say, you know, men, we're all dumb. I'm not specifically saying, Kenny, you're dumb. Right. I'm just saying, in general, men aren't as smart as women, higher level thinking, blah, blah, whatever. We generalize about things because that's how we perceive the world. If you think about it, if I didn't think all stoves were hot, then I would go touch every freaking stove to see if it was hot.
That's right.
But some of them may not be turned on. They may not be hot. But I'm going to assume it's hot, and when it's not, cool. Then I was wrong about generalizing about that particular stove. Yeah. But life lessons have taught me there's certain things that are, in general, if I say men are logical, women are emotional, I'm not talking about any specific person. There's always going to be exceptions to those rules.
It's a generalization.
But it's a generalization because that's the majority is in general.
That's how it shows up.
Right. Dude, I'm having the conversation and I'm trying to say this. And because
this one.
Oh, that's a good one. And because people, you know, when I say things, because they feel like it's a personal attack, they're not listening to what I'm saying and they just start firing back. And I'm like, I'm not talking about you. Yeah. If you have a logical mind, then I'm not talking about you, you know? And it's like, if I call somebody a bitch, if that's not you, then I'm not talking about you.
You know what's funny about
Or
that word?
if I call you dumb,
Yeah.
or if I say, God, man, some people are so dumb. Why are you calling people dumb? Because some are. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
You know?
You know,
God.
yeah. You know, when you said if I'm calling you a bitch, 10 times out of 10, I'm always calling a man a bitch.
Dude, but
I don't think I've ever called a woman a bitch.
no. But even so, people make generalizations.
Yes.
And then when you get defensive and you're not hearing the rest of the discussion, all you heard was women are emotional. And then you flip in your brain, oh, women are crazy. That's what you're thinking I'm saying. No, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
But do you find that that's very, 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 very common today? I think there's a level of sensitivity that is beyond belief right now.
And the reason why is because, and I hate this word, but I'm going to say it, because people get triggered by everything. And I hate the word triggered because people use it now. Oh, that triggered me. What triggered you? I just said hello.
You know, I brought that up this week.
But it's the way you said hello and the look. It was very demeaning.
Yeah.
I'm taller than you, so I look down at you because I'm looking at you.
I'm triggered when that happens. I'm triggered when you speak in that manner.
And I just want to say, what does triggered mean? What happens? You get triggered, and then what's next?
It's what's trending.
Yeah.
That should be the trigger word.
Dude.
Trending. I'm going to go with whatever's trending.
And by just not, and so many problems happen, and you and I talk about this all the time, so many problems happen simply because we don't listen. We hear, but we don't listen. Mm-hmm. And that's a big problem. You know, remember, White Men Can't Jump. And Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson were in the car. And he was playing Jimi Hendrix. And he was like, you listen to Jimmy, but you don't hear Jimmy. You know what I mean? He's like, you can't hear Jimmy. People will either listen, however you want to flip, listen and hear.
Right.
People will hear you. They hear the sound coming out of your mouth, but they're not listening to the words.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not truly listening. Yeah. All they're doing is they hear a word, it triggers them, and they can't wait to jump in and fire back.
Right. Instead
of, if you just took a moment to understand and listen to the meaning behind the words, you might actually agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this conversation that we're having, it really goes right back to communication and people's inability to communicate, to share, to listen, because communicating is more listening than it is sharing. And I think people don't take the time they're waiting for the other party to stop because all they know is what's going on in their head, and they need to be able to dive deeper into what's going on with what I can receive from you, because it is about getting and receiving information.
Who do you think learns more? The person sitting in the back of a classroom listening to the question and answer session, or that student that always wants to be heard and just starts asking foolish questions?
There's always a person in the back of the classroom.
And the reason why is because the person asking questions isn't listening to the answer. He's thinking about what's the next question I can ask. Mm-hmm. You know, where the guy in the back of the room is listening to everything. For example, I always say
funny story. Say what you gotta say.
When I go somewhere, say I go to a party or a function or a dinner party, whatever it may be, I walk in and I just sit and watch people. Yeah. I listen to various conversations. I'll nod and I won't talk. And it's not because I'm an introvert. It's because I'm trying to understand the lay of the land. I'm trying to understand everybody in the room. I'm not going to be outgoing until I understand the role everybody's playing. And then once I understand, then I'm like, all right, I know how to come at this person versus that person over there. I know what conversation I should have with that person over there because I've been listening, and not just listening with my ears, I've been listening with my eyes. Mm-hmm. And with that, I'm like, okay, now I know how to attack this room. If I walk in and I'm the life of the party, hey, what's up, y'all? Slapping everybody high five. I won't catch the person who's turned off by my presence. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I think people spend too much time like you always say, shut up about me. Let me tell you more about me.
Enough about me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little bit more about myself.
Yeah.
Couple of thoughts. One, I 100% agree with you with that. Like, I'm very big on like taking a step back, acknowledging the room, see how people are activated or deactivated, who I need to not talk to at all, who I need to share with, whatever. That's funny. I find that interesting because I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
The second thing is I was thinking, so in the classroom, I remember I was the guy in the back of the classroom. I saw went back in the classroom, teachers talking, blah, 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 professors talking. And there was always guys that, raise their hand. Oh, I got something to say.
Or Kenneth doesn't participate.
Yeah, he doesn't participate. Oh, he got his head down. You must be asleep. No, I'm paying attention. I'm just laying my head down. I'm tired. So what ended up happening was I was in the classroom there was a group. It was, mixed group. It was relations between the sexes. And it was a psychology class. It was evenly yoked class. So it's one guy that said, what was your perception of the person before class and now what's your perception? Now, I don't know if I told the story before on the show. But
no, I don't know if I've ever heard this.
Yeah, so as
you never even told it to me.
Yeah. So as I'm in this class and the guy said to me, he said, listen, I thought he was a buffoon. I thought he was a clown. Like he just, he's joking. He's got jokes all the time.
Right.
He's in the back of class. He's kind of asleep. He's halfway awake. He's not paying attention. He said, but my idea of him changed when one day one of the professors said that he couldn't get the answer. I tried to answer, somebody else answered, and then he called on him, and he called him out, and his head was down. Say, oh, since you got time to rest, what's the answer? And I leaned up and I told him the exact answer he wanted to hear, and I put my head right back down.
Yeah.
And he said, he was like, oh, this fool got it.
You're listening.
I'm always listening. And I always say that my thought pattern about hearing versus listening. Hearing is it's in one ear, right out the other. It's just transfer of information. You might take it in, you might take it out. Listening is receiving it and locking it in.
And I always say, like with my profession, two instances that I think are important. When I'm sitting in the office with a patient, I let them tell me everything. And even if it means they're rambling, I'll try to guide the conversation by asking sort of pointed questions. Mm-hmm. But what I've realized, if I let them talk and I steer the conversation with them talking, they'll tell me what's wrong with them. Makes my job easy. The other time for me when it's so important to listen is when I'm in the operating room. I hear, and this is kind of crazy, I hear every single thing that's going on. I may be operating. I hear what anesthesia is talking about. I hear the beeps on the monitors. I hear what the nurses are talking about. I hear when the scrub techs, and at the same time, I'm talking to my brother. I'm talking to the nurse. I'm talking to the scrub tech. But somebody walks into the room with the music playing. I hear the music. I know how to compartmentalize every sound that's going on in the operating room because I've learned how to listen. Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the problems with people in general, they haven't learned how to listen.
No.
Think about this. When we're kids.
You're just told.
No, it gets even better. When we're kids, when you're a baby, mm-hmm. What do we praise? The baby's first words. What do we praise? Oh, he learned how to talk. Nobody praises the baby for learning how to listen, which happens way before they learn how to talk. Because think about it. You're telling your kid how to do things. They're listening to you. And the reason why they can now talk is because they've listened to what you have said. Mm-hmm. So start praising your kids for being able to listen. Start teaching them how to listen better. Don't teach them how to talk better. Teach them how to listen better. Right. They're going to learn how to talk. Yeah. Sometimes my nephew, I had to teach him, like, dude, you talk way too much. You say a million things at once. Do you know how to listen?
Right.
And it's not a hard thing to do. You just tell people, hey, close your mouth, open your ears, don't look at somebody's lips moving, and wondering why their lips are moving a certain way, if you haven't learned how to listen, close your eyes. Close your eyes, close your mouth, and just listen when somebody's talking to you. Even if you have to say, you know what, you're talking to me, I'm just going to close my eyes, but I am listening to you. And what you don't realize, too, is you'll hear more if you look at their eyes and not their mouth. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. And so when people are afraid to make eye contact, they're not listening to you. They hear you, but they're not listening to you. Mm-hmm. And so I would rather you tune out everything, close your eyes from the distractions, and just hear my voice. And I think that's one of the best things of why podcasts are great, because there's no distraction of what, and that's why radio's so good. When radio talk shows and all these things, you can drive, you're not distracted, but you only have your ears to hear. Mm-hmm. And you can't cut people off because they're still talking at you. They're not hearing you back, you know? And I think as time goes on, we've learned a little bit more how to listen, but we're so eager to tell our side of the story as opposed to just living in the story and hearing how your story is affecting someone else.
There's always just micro levels of validation
that
we have to keep giving ourselves. See.
My voice sound okay? Is the volume up okay? Are we good?
Right.
You know, but it's that kind of thing. Yeah. It's just, and even with us, what's so funny, and I've noticed this from day one, our talking is a ping pong. Mm-hmm. It's never, I'm trying to hit the ball and then run over to your side and hit the ball back. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we've gotten along. It's like, okay, he's got something to say, let me be quiet. Or if you're saying, oh yeah, Kenny, but yeah. And then it's that tennis match.
Yeah. And I think also because I do way more talking, I think, during the course of the day than you do. So because you have to do a lot of freaking listening. I mean, when you have so many people coming in, it's either that or it's just silence because you're working.
Yeah, I have to listen to a lot of stories.
You have to listen to what's going in. You have to hear what's going on with that body. I think for me, the biggest thing that's been a great point in my life that has helped me tremendously is all the sales training and sales learning beforehand, because it taught me how to just not me just listen, but help the person listen to what they're saying.
Right.
Because what happens for me is I learn how to continue to ask questions, open-ended questions, so they can pull themselves even further into themselves. You know, so like say for instance, I have someone comes to me and say, hey, listen, I heard you're a good trainer. I want to work with you. I go, oh, okay, well, why do you want training now? They go, oh, well, I need to lose 20 pounds, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. But what makes now so special? What helps you bring your money, time, and energy to me right now? And they go, oh, well, I just feel like, now's the time I got to get ready for summertime. You're like, oh, okay, well, why is summertime so special for you?
Right. Why is the summer so important?
Right. And by the time you're done and they're done talking, they've told you that they have high blood pressure. They told you that they have high cholesterol. They've told you that they have.
And you've already helped them because you listened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's something that I find funny, and I'm probably going to get some blowback for this statement. I like stirring the pot just because I'm me. How many times have you heard, I just want you to listen to me. I just want to be heard in a relationship. You know what I mean? Or guys don't pay attention. They don't listen. And I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to hear me. Okay. My challenge is, how do you know we don't want to be heard as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you want us to hear you. I'm listening to you. Mm-hmm. And my very favorite statement, do you want me just to listen or do you want me to fix it? You're coming to me with issues. Do you want me just to listen or do you want me to give you a solution? Mm-hmm. Or do you want me to do both? If I come to you, and this is what we talked about, how men aren't heard. Because most of the time, nobody cares what we have to say. You know what I mean? And so my friend that I was talking to last night, she's like, I'm the rock of my family. And she's like, I was listening to one of your podcasts, which was great, you know, because she's busy. She was listening to one of our podcasts about, and how we were talking about how men aren't heard, men's mental health, and how men aren't heard. And she was like, and we're expected to just always be okay. And she said something very interesting. She's like, it's not just men, it's whoever is the rock for the family is always going to be expected to be the rock because they're not allowed to fall apart. And so nobody listens to you when you're saying, hey, I don't feel well, or hey, something's not right with me, or I need a moment. They hear it, but they're not listening to you because in their mind, nobody in your world wants to process that Kenny's not okay. Because if Kenny's not okay, then our world's going to fall apart. So I don't want to process that. Yeah. So Kenny then he knows that. So he just doesn't say he's not okay. He just says, I'm fine. And so she was like, it's not just a man thing. It's whoever is the rock for the family, whether it's a man or a woman. She's like, typically, in general, since y'all don't want me generalizing, in general, it's the man that's looked at as that rock for his family. Yeah. And she was like, but in my world, she's like, I'm that rock as well. Yeah. And so everybody, my kids, my family, everybody expects me that I'm always okay. And I was like, I didn't think about that. But that was me listening to her as a woman giving us feedback on that whole podcast we did. Mm-hmm. And
I agree with that. But what happens typically as well is not just men, but you know, there's a lot of expectation of a fixed mindset for men. Like, you know, either you know what, just get your shit together. It's very easy to say that to a man. Very easy. Very, very easy to say that to a man. You need to get your shit together.
Just man up. Get your shit together.
Just man up. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, is there ever, bro, just get your shit together. Girl, you need to just get your shit together. Girl, you want to go out for drinks? Let's get this out your system.
You can't do that. And you're not allowed as a man to criticize.
No.
Men accept criticism all day. If you got a dad, look, I said this last night, and we're going to get back to obesity at some point. In my office, 2 sets of people walk in. Mm-hmm. A woman walks in who's morbidly obese.
Okay.
A man walks in who's morbidly obese. I have the very same conversation with both. It is taken very differently.
I know it is.
I tell a dude, like, look, man, you got a beer belly, blah, blah. I need you to tighten that up.
Right.
He's like, yeah, man, I know. He slaps his belly. He's like, I got to get rid of this. I know this is the problem. When I'm relaying that information to a woman, I don't say, you got a beer gut, you got to get rid of the problem. I always say, look, there's several reasons why your back hurts. X, Y, Z. This reason right here, the most important reason, is obesity. You're overweight. Immediately, I get a look back at me. 100% of the time, the first look is, he's fat shaming me. And I see it. They don't say it, but I see it. And I immediately am like, no, I'm just telling you, this is a problem long term. And I have to qualify that response. And it's because we've always been told you can't criticize anything about a woman without backlash. But yet men can get criticized all the time, and it's just we accept it because it's criticism. And the reason why is because people aren't listening to what we're saying. I'm just saying facts to you. I'm not saying you're ugly because you're fat, blah, whatever. I'm just saying this is what it is. But you're not a fact. But you're not listening. And so with my female friends, I always say this. I'm like, when it comes to men and women, why is it that what we say as men and what you hear as women is never the same thing? We say something, and you guys, and I say you guys, I'm sorry if I'm generalizing, but women will look for that hidden meaning.
Yeah.
We don't speak in code. We say exactly what we're trying to say. because our brains don't focus that
or
way.
we don't say
Or we don't say anything. So if you're listening to us, take what we say as being that. There's no, like we always say, when a woman says, I'm fine, she may not be. She may not be fine. She may be pissed off. She may be whatever, just the tone of I'm fine. If you ask a man, are you fine? He's like, yeah, I'm good. He's probably okay. He's probably fine.
Yeah.
And so just take the time to listen to the people in your life, because if you're too busy trying to get your statement across when you're in an argument or discussion or debate, you're never going to hear the other side of the story, and you're going to miss out on something that could be pertinent to moving your relationship forward.
Yeah.
Whether it's a work relationship.
That's the most important to me. I always, like when even just people I come across that I know, if I know you, I'm actually really, really wanting to know how you're doing. Because I'll go, what's going on? How you doing? They go, oh, I'm good. I'm like, are you really good? I sense there's a tone behind that. I just want to make sure. I'm here for it. I'm just letting you know. I'm not just trying to, it's not a pass me by, like, what's up? Like, right. What's up?
Yeah,
like,
and if she's like, are you good? And you're like, oh, I'm good.
I mean, I might have an answer for you, or might be able to share something that can help you be good.
You give them that space to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, because so many times we don't take that pause. We ask a question, then we're on to the next question.
To the next one, man.
And instead of saying, how are you? And then just waiting for the answer, it's more so, how are you? Oh, by the way, did you see? Well, let me answer the question first.
Everybody needs to be fed, man. But you got to hear people to be fed. You got to hear people to feed people, and also to be fed. Because you will be fed if you help to feed.
You'll be fed if you're willing to be fed. And here's the interesting thing. People always say a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Yes, you have to speak up for yourself, but then in turn, you got to close it to listen.
Yes.
Closed mouth doesn't get fed, but an open mouth doesn't swallow.
That's right.
I just made that up just now. But man, I mean, it's just.
How about closed fist clench nothing?
Yeah. So man,
go on for days and days.
We can go on, but yeah. I think this is a good place for us to kind of wind this down, knowing that there's so much more for us to talk about. There's so much more for us to tackle on this front of just listening and being present.
Yes.
Don't listen with your phone out, because if your focus is elsewhere, you're not listening.
And don't worry, Google's listening.
Yes. Google's always listening. That's how they know what to send you. Coach KJ, man, this has been a great topic to tackle today. Thank you, audience, who was on the live today that gave us the decision. Where are they going to find you, man?
Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com. And you can also find us at podcastsoe.com for everything podcast. Sipping on excellence.
You're going to find me at Leonel Hunt on Instagram. You'll find me at huntspine.com, as well as the Hunt Foundation. And we're always going to be coming at you. You'll see us on YouTube. Go look at these videos, however you decide to soak in your knowledge.
And listen, we out.